Morning, everybody. It's 8:57, and this is your pre-opening comment. It is video number 1345 for this Friday, the 1st of July. New quarter, new month. We'll see what happens. Okay, so Europe and Asia both down, um, and Europe in particular, highest absolute record inflation. 8.6%. Expected was 8.4, so that's probably part of the reason. Here at home, we have the PMI coming out at 945, and we have construction spending and ISM coming out at 10. So there's no real news this morning. Um, Micron, beat on the top line, missed a little. I'm sorry, missed on the top line, beat on earnings, and the stock had closed at 55.28. It traded on those numbers all the way down to 50.09 last night. This morning it's 52.70, but that is still down $2.58, or roughly 5%. Coles, I warned you about this one. Regardless of how many times they have tried to sell themselves, nobody will finance the deal. The stock this morning, with franchise moving away from it, 29.20, down 645, or 18%. We're talking about a company that every time they announce it, the price is right around $60, now selling for half that. I don't know whether that's good or bad. I just know that I've been continuing to say nobody finances this. It's the same thing with Nordstrom. They looked to sell the company, they looked to take it private by the Nordstrom family. Again, there's no more free money out there. That window is shut, and a lot of these companies are going to be faced with those type of problems. Okay, American Airlines giving their pilots a 17% raise next year. Nobody cares. The stock is up 12 cents. And FedEx got downgraded by a firm I have never heard of. The stock is trading 222.75, down 396, or 1.8%. Um, and the and the price has been lowered from 330, their price objective, 330 to 275. You have to remember that you know this is a company that before it uh, raised its estimates, and before it actually reported, had been trading down around 200. Um, it closed the day that they announced their upgraded estimates. The stock had closed at 200. The next day it opened at 219 and closed 232. The day that they reported their earnings, it had settled back to 228, and the next morning it was 248 on the high, although it closed 243. So it's sold off a little since then, the last 3 or 4 days. But, this is a stock that really looks like it's trying to get its legs here with some sort of bottom. Okay, grains down a little. Gold down 22. The silver is down $1.01. I've been wanting to buy the silver here. I've been wrong. Fortunately, I haven't done anything about it. But it's getting to a place here where, I remember Dennis's initial number on the gold was 1780. The low today is 1783 and a half. Last is 1785.70. So it's down almost 22 and over $1 down at 19. This is a hard one. It looked last week, I was mentioning, and early this week, I really wanted to buy it, but it looked like it was rolling over. And in fact, it did. Let's get a better look here. Okay, so it's approaching the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement, which happens to coincide with this 100-month moving average, which is pretty long term. This is a 10-year chart. Um, but it really looks like it's coming into support. There's support down at $18 all the way up to this 1880, and the last is 1934. Let's just throw the Bollinger Bands on this and see what it looks like that way. Yep, right through the bottom. But the fact of the matter is, it was through the bottom 2 weeks ago, or pardon me, 2 months ago when it closed at 2168. It was right on it last week at 2035, and now we're below it. Let's go with a weekly and see if we can't see something here. Yep, also lower Bollinger Band into that support. I really want to own it. I own a bunch of the actual, and probably at this rate, tomorrow morning I'll be making another trip to my coin and metals dealer and buying a couple more of those 10-ounce bars. Okay, let's take a look at what else is going on here. Oil up 285, nat gas up 44. I want to make a mention of something that I was discussing with a subscriber this morning. You know, nat gas has come down very sharply. You have to remember that it wasn't that long ago. Let's take a look. 3 weeks ago, it was selling at 966, and it looked like it was going straight through to double digits. It came down that day. Let me go to the daily. It came down that day from 966 all the way down to 842 and closed at 870, down 60 cents. I mention this because that was the day of the explosion and fire at the processing plant in Freeport, Texas. It tried to bottom at 8 cents the next day and came all the way back up to be trading over 9 again. And then on the 14th, we had a move from 888 to 7, closing 718. That was the day that the Freeport refinery said it's going to probably take us most of the year in order to get this back and running at capacity. So it continued to slump, tried to make a little bottom here in that $6 area, moved up, and then yesterday was down $1.07. Last night I couldn't sleep, and I was reading something, and I came across there was a Supreme Court ruling yesterday that basically said that West Virginia, or Virginia versus the EPA, there was a ruling that said that the EPA overstepped its bounds back in 2015 when Mr. Obama, the master overreacher, uh, was in office, and the Supreme Court held that they had overstepped their bounds and that they could not put a cap on the amount of CO2 produced. So yesterday's news was basically you can go back to burning coal. And of course, we were down $1.07. Now, I'm not going to say that it's a direct cause and effect, but I will say that the timing of the move, based on a day where there was news, I think is more than just a coincidence. Okay, let's look through the softs. Cotton down 260, coffee up $1.25. Sugar down, lumber up. Lumber has had a little bit of a rally here from the mid 500s back to the mid 600s. So we'll have to see how that plays out. The S&P is down about $10. Opening bell is coming up shortly. The Dow is showing an opening. It was down about 150 when I got up. It's now down about 55. The NASDAQ, which was also substantially lower, is gaining a little bit back here, as is the S&P. The S&P is now showing an opening of down 9. I saw it down 20 overnight. And let's just make sure. Yep, Dow futures down about 60, NASDAQ futures down 46. So there you go. Be careful out there. The dollar is stronger again, although Bitcoin and Ethereum are popping up a little and the bonds are up another 25, 30 seconds. Remember, today is essentially going to noon, 1 o'clock at the latest, it's over. It's a long weekend, and we'll see how people end up the end of the week and the beginning of the first day of the third quarter, whether they want to go home long or short into this market. But trading will be thin. Have a good weekend, everybody, and don't hold those fireworks in your hand.